Hey guys, this is a special solo episode. We've been doing a lot of solo episodes on our Hindi podcast. We've not done one on English for a while because I feel like if I want to do solo episodes on English, it's got to be deep. This one's a deep episode. It's about my current state of mind as a YouTuber. We're closing in on finishing 6 years of YouTubing, and YouTubing itself can mold you into a very different version of yourself compared to the version of yourself that you were when you began. I hope that this podcast gives you some insights into the mind and journey of your favorite YouTubers. Remember, guys, follow TRS on Spotify. We're a Spotify exclusive now. That means every episode is available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. This episode, like every solo episode, is a heart to heart. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you gain value from it. And I hope that you get to know me a little bit more deeply. Enjoy yourselves. Okay, quick heart to heart in this one. The YouTuber life is not easy. I'm not saying that it's the most difficult career. In fact, it's a very rewarding career. I've spoken about all the rewards repeatedly. I've done YouTube for so long now. I've done it for 6 years. And I've done it for so long now that it's become a second nature to me. My whole life is lived in terms of what's my next script, when's my next upload, what's my next content piece, what's that thumbnail going to look like, oh, that video that's being prepared, how else can we shoot it, what kind of lighting can we use, how can we improve our work. My life is YouTube, because every single year spent on social media or on YouTube is equal to 3 years spent in every other industry, both according to your growth and according to the money you make and according to the fame you receive or the recognition you receive. 1 year spent on social media is equal to 3 years spent in other industries. This is something I learned from Nikhil Sharma, Mumbaiker Nikhil, one of the country's OG YouTubers. Some people consider me one of the country's OG YouTubers for some reason. Never ever thought that I would be a YouTuber while I was growing up. I've heard that it's become one of the cool things for kids to say. When I was growing up, the cool thing to say was, hey, I want to be a cricketer. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a scientist maybe. Actually, no, scientist, not really. No, I'm kidding. But it used to be cool to be able to say, I'm going to be an astronaut or I'm going to be an athlete. It wasn't ever an option to call yourself a potential YouTuber, and now it is. So this video is about the dark side of YouTube that everyone should know about before they begin this journey. I've spoken earlier about how YouTube eventually leads to one of two things. It leads to a career in films as an actor or a director, creator, writer, etc., or it leads to a career in some sort of business. It could be a service-based business like Monk Entertainment. It could be a product-based business like Yuthiapa. It could be a product-based business like the business Aman Dhattarwal runs. It's an education-based business, edtech of sorts. Unacademy began in YouTube. You always end up in business or in the world of creation of films. Lots of people look at YouTube as a stepping stone. I don't think it's a stepping stone. I think it's a very giving platform. There is this third career called long-term YouTubing, which very few people will embrace, because after a point, one, it gets difficult to keep coming up with ideas. Two, people say that the algorithm always prefers fresher creators. So if the algorithm builds up one particular creator in one genre, once that creator is established, the rumor says that the algorithm will build up a second creator, just so that there's competition for the first creator. And this is a pattern that a lot of YouTubers claim to have seen repeatedly. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But lots of people say that this happens. That if one person is pumped by the algorithm, very soon the algorithm will pump a second person to ensure that there isn't one single monopoly. That's why on any YouTube channel, you'll have suggested channels. Or under a video of a particular channel, you'll have suggested videos of a rival channel. It's just how the nature of YouTube is. So what's the effect that it has on the creator? Let me reassure you guys that this is a very giving career. If you play the game right, if you know what you're doing on YouTube, if you put in your heart and soul into the process, and if you enjoy the process, you will get the rewards, and those rewards will be greater than you would have ever expected. But there is a flip side to it. Okay? People know about what creator burnout is. Oh, I'm just out of creativity. Oh, I've lost my relevance. Oh, people don't relate to me anymore. Oh, I don't know what to make next. Oh, I don't know how to pivot my content. You hear lots of old school creators saying this. You hear people who've been on the platform say this for a while. but I'm going to highlight 5 of my observations, which have been difficulties for me, but also difficulties that I sort of overcame. And I'm also going to give you the perspective of someone who wants to be on YouTube for at least another 5 to 10 years. That's me. I want to be on YouTube for another 5 to 10 years, irrespective of the podcasts we create, the businesses we create. I enjoy YouTubing. I love creating videos. I love learning, allowing it to marinate in my head, and then putting it out through beautiful video content and, gain an audience along with putting out this beautiful content. Here's 5 dark aspects of YouTube from my own journey. Dark aspect number 1, it's a never-ending game. That rush from 0 to 1 million subscribers is what most people aim for, even today. And it is a rush getting there. When you're at 600K and 700K and 900K subs, you're pumped about getting there. You hit 1 million, you get emotional, you feel happy, you think your life is made, and then post 1 million, you're left with a little bit of emptiness. At least it used to be 1 million subs in my day. It's probably 5 million or 10 million now. If you have a number in your head when you're beginning YouTube, I kind of think that might be a mistake, because once you cross that number, which you definitely will if you're passionate about YouTube, you will feel empty after you're past that point. After you pass that point, you kind of don't make content for the numbers. You don't make content for the success. You make content for your own heart, for the child inside you that enjoyed YouTube once upon a time, who dreamt of being a YouTuber. That's what you make content for. That's the biggest reason we went into podcasts, because I was like, I want to create content that I'd like to consume. I want to create content that I'd like to create, not content that just my audience would like. And if my audience doesn't like a particular piece of content, I'll do it repeatedly in order to gain an even newer audience, or in order to show this audience this beautiful new kind of content that I'm creating. My point is that it's sort of an empty game, all right? Even if you pass certain personal milestones. Another aspect of it being an empty game, and we're still at point number 1, another aspect of it being an empty game is that you are your last piece of content. No YouTuber will only create content on YouTube. You'll either also create content on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or Clubhouse for that matter. And depending on your performance and your last piece of content, you kind of start attaching your self-worth to it. And this is a vicious cycle, trust me, because if you put out a video that has been received well, it's got great views, you enjoyed doing it, you start flying a little bit. And if you put out a piece of content that you thought will do really well, and then it bombs, it tanks, it gets criticism, it gets cancelled almost, then sometimes you start associating your self-worth with that. Cancel culture is a big part of our lives right now. I have some young creators who call me and say, hey man, I just got cancelled on Twitter. What do I do? My response to them is chill. You are your last piece of content. If people are cancelling you today, 1, they're not even your audience. 2, your audience would never cancel you. 3, the moment you make your next good piece of content, people will forget about that whole cancelling phenomenon that happened to you on Sunday. You're being cancelled on Sunday, and by Tuesday, you're a king or a queen again. Strange life. And that's why I say it's empty. It's f***ing empty. You don't even know what you're doing after a point. You're just on autopilot. I don't know where 6 years of my life have gone by. I look back at my life and I'm like, it feels like last week that Raja started working with me and we were making fitness content and we were figuring how to make fitness content more entertaining. We thought, let's put titles in our videos. That'll make it more entertaining. Just feels like last week. I don't know where these 6 years have gone by. Because it's a weird kind of empty game. It's very fulfilling and empty at the same time. I can't explain it. 6 years have flown by. Things got really good for me probably 6 months to a year ago, when I realized that, damn, I'm doing so many things. I'm running businesses, I'm running YouTube channels. I cannot keep associating my self-worth with how my videos perform, how many views they get. And once I started doing that, we started getting even more views, just by the way. Why? Because I started creating videos that I was enjoying creating. I enjoyed the editing process. I was having fun making those. If you're having fun creating a video, people have fun viewing it. And if you're not having fun on your YouTube journey, it's either time to stop or it's time to reinvent. YouTube teaches you a lot for life. You'll get a very high paying job in another industry doing something else because of the skills you've learned from YouTube. Apply it in business. Challenge yourself in other ways if you're done with YouTube. I still have that little kid inside me who's excited about telling stories and sharing my learnings. I'm not going to stop. Point 2, relevance. I'm seeing a lot of people from my generation of YouTubers either starting to fade away online or not being regular with their content uploads or thinking about their next steps in life or just running out of ideas to sustain what we call relevance. That's the curse of fame. Lots of people dream of being rich, then they become rich, and usually they stay rich at least for a few generations. Their family stays rich for a few generations. Lots of people aim to become famous, reach peaks of fame, get those highs that are associated with fame, and then once they decide to stop working, the fame also drops. Think of Bollywood actors who were very relevant in the 90s. They're icons now. Govinda, Jackie Shroff, Sunny Deol. But they were famous back in the 90s, man. They were called for functions, they'd walk into colleges, people would cheer for them. It's not the same now. Because they reached a point in their lives where they were like, we're done with work. The way fame works, the way relevance works, you have to keep putting an effort to stay famous, to stay relevant. Keeping in mind the first point and this second point, the dark side of YouTube is that you gotta constantly work for it. There isn't really a rest period other than the time you take a vacation, for which also, by the way, you have to plan a month or two in advance just so that your content is stacked up and you can continuously upload as well as enjoy your vacation. Every time I'm thinking of taking a vacation, we plan it 3 months in advance. The whole team needs to know, okay, Ranveer is going on vacation from these dates to these dates. Therefore, finish off all the content from now. Stock up across YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everything. Just for a 10-day vacation. So if you want to stay famous, it's all about constantly giving effort to the source of your fame. YouTube made you famous. You got to constantly put that effort back into YouTube. Otherwise, you don't upload a video for a very long time. You upload a video a year later. You may not is the keyword. You may not get the same kind of impact through that video. YouTube's also like a game, right? And you tend to get rusty if you stay away from a game. You're great at football, you stop playing for a year, you come back to the football pitch, you're not the same player you were. YouTube sort of works the same way. If you stay consistent, your system automatically polishes itself. Keeping in mind all these concepts, I strongly believe that this content creation journey is like an athlete's career, where you've got to work towards playing a great game. An athlete is only relevant for a certain period of time, 10, 15 years. Think of like a top actor's career, man. Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, they're exceptions, right? They've been relevant for 30 years. I'd say of the three, man, people say that, oh, Shah Rukh Khan isn't as relevant anymore. People say that Salman Khan isn't as relevant anymore. People say the same thing about Amir Khan. But consider the fact that they might be relevant. What? It's like 30 years? 35 years? They are what? Around 50, 60 years of age? They only had that 30-year window to do whatever they had to do in terms of their life, legacy, money, fame, relevance. An athlete like MS Dhoni made his debut in 2004. It's 2021 now. It's 17 years. He had a 17-year long career. And we all know that he's very close to retirement. He's not as relevant as he was in, say, 2009 or 2011 when he won the World Cup. Not the same vibe when it comes to fame, and that's okay. That's just how life is. A YouTuber's career is probably just 5 to 10 years long. I'm in year 6. Try understanding what kind of pressure that puts on you if you have very large goals in life. If you just want financial stability, you can definitely do that through YouTube. If you just stick with the YouTube game, if you keep making content that people like, you'll become financially stable in life. That's not my personal goal. I want to create 20,000 jobs. That's my personal goal. That's a large goal. It's not going to happen just by staying relevant for 5 to 10 years. So what does it really take to stay relevant other than consistency? It takes elevation of your own skill set. You have to keep adding a new skill. You have to keep learning something new. Okay, I've been doing these kind of videos for a while. How do I take it to the next level? Okay, can I cover some new piece of information? Can I bring in some new topics? Can I bring in new people into my videos? Can I change up my style? If people have accepted you as an infotainment creator, someone who teaches them things in an entertaining way, one of the ways to reinvent is you have to study a lot in your offline life. Read a lot of books. Consume a lot of podcasts. If you can run a podcast and learn through it, do that, because that's what I've been doing, and that's been refueling my content a little bit. It's been 2 years since I've run the podcast. Best decision of my life, best decision of my career, not just for the active benefits of it, not just because we have an IP now or we've signed a Spotify deal now. Think of the guy's mind. I'm going through insanely deep conversations twice a week. I'm getting coached by someone who's accomplished something, someone who's an expert of something. It's crazy for my head. So it fuels my content bank. I can create a lot of videos through stuff I've learned off the podcast. But it's not so easy for people in other genres. How do they refuel? How do they reinvent? YouTubing is not easy, man. We sit back and say, oh, they're not funny anymore. Oh, they're not relevant anymore. They're not relatable anymore. Man, they've been around for a while. Not everyone has the benefit of running a podcast or learning from great minds or loving reading. People have their own journeys, and this journey becomes difficult. To all the critics, I want to see where they will be in like 5-10 years. Because YouTube is not an easy game. And if you think you can sit there and criticize other channels for not performing well, hold up. Let's see where you are on the same timeline. Let's see how relevant you are. My generation of YouTubers has been around for 5-6 years, and people say we're starting to get cancelled now. This next generation is going to get cancelled in 2-3 years, if that's really the case. The faster you rise up, the faster you will fall down. My generation had the benefit of the geo boom, but we never had these kind of speeds of growth. Nowadays, you make one uncomfortable questions with mom or things that guys are afraid to answer and you explode. Fast rise will also create fast falls. It's not just the truth for YouTube, it's the truth for any industry. The third dark truth is what I call refueling. You have to refuel the content. Reading, perspective, getting to know people outside of YouTube, and some sort of sacrifice in your own life. Some sort of sacrifice in your own life. Underrated concept. Whatever career you're in, if you want to get to that next level, if you want to jump to that next level, you first got to bend down a little bit, shed off something, sacrifice something, get the energy, then jump up to the next level. Is it weed that you're sacrificing? Is it alcoholism that you're sacrificing? Is it this sexual lust for fame that you're sacrificing? Is it your comfort zone that you're sacrificing? Is it some relationships that you're sacrificing? Is it time that you're sacrificing? Is it that chill life that you're sacrificing in order to make better, more enhanced content? What are you doing? One thing I love about my own past is that at some point, I realized that maybe this content creation game could be empty. I need to do something outside of content creation. That's why Viraj and myself started Monk Entertainment. I was dating someone at that time who said that, no, how am I going to tell my parents that I'm dating a content creator? She had a point. So I said, cool, let me do something else. That's what led me to start business. That's what taught me business. It gave me so much content, just by the way. It refueled me. Sacrifices will refuel you, but get out of your comfort zone, because that's where the growth happens. Point number 4. I see this around me, not just in content creation, but in most media professionals, many startup people. Happens to people in every industry. It's called arrogance. It's definitely happened to me at multiple points in my own career. Last year, I think we started doing solo podcasts, and the solo podcasts were being loved. At the same time, I saw The Last Dance featuring Michael Jordan, which was all about killing it, being that lion, winning it for your team. Michael Jordan had this crazy quote in that show, okay? So his coach is telling him to play team basketball, pass the ball, play with your teammates. And the coach says, Michael, there's no I in team. So Michael tried doing that. Nothing happened because his teammates were missing the shots. And then Michael Jordan started playing solo ball. He tried winning it for his team alone. So he scored a few baskets. He made his team win. Then he looks back at the coach and says, there's no I in team, but there's an I in win. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Michael Jordan mentality, which gave me so much, also definitely made me a little bit arrogant. Started studying role models, who would kind of give me that little bit of arrogance. John Jones, UFC fighter. Mike Tyson at his peak. All these guys were monsters, great at their jobs, legends, also arrogant. This podcast is releasing very soon after we've recorded it. It's sort of a live update of what's happening in my head. This past week, 3-4 days back, we hosted Gauranga Das on the podcast. He's the mentor to Jai Shetty. He's a senior monk from ISKCON. Best podcast I've done. Genuinely. Deepest one we've ever created. Spoke to him in detail about arrogance and the nature of success, the nature of the rewards that life gives you. And the consensus was that when you win something, you never win alone. It's not even just your teammates. It's all your circumstances and your whole life that led you up to that point. In Junior KG, you've had some experience which has helped you create a video when you're a 28-year-old YouTuber. That external stimulus that caused that effect when you were 4 years old also played a role in getting you this video which did well when you were 28. All your life circumstances add up and put you in a position to succeed. So it's never you alone. When you win, it's never you alone. When you lose, it's never you alone. That's what people need to understand. And that's what I see a lot of startup people and media people not understanding. When they start seeing a little bit of success, it starts getting to their heads. Oh yeah, it's just me. If you're ever hanging out with media people, notice who always ends up taking the conversation to themselves. Someone says something about sustainability, and this one media person or successful startup person brings the conversation back to themselves. Yeah, my startup this. Yeah, me that. Oh yeah, this is what I think. When you spot that in people, you're also spotting the beginning of deterioration in their lives. That's just what I think. Or at least the deterioration of their careers, which can be avoided if they are surrounded by people who are not yesmen and who say, no, you're talking shit. Don't get arrogant. It's not just you. And you know what? All of us are supporting you in order for you to win, so that all of us win. But this doesn't happen in the media world. Lots of people get sucked into their own success. And then they end up falling. A lot of the people who are fading away right in front of my eyes could be to substance abuse, could be to their own success. It's happening because they're surrounded by yesmen. It's happening because they're intoxicated by their own success. And I'm seeing people crumble in front of me. They're so in their own zone that they're not even ready to listen to external perspective. I've tried telling some of them that, something might be wrong. And their response is, yeah, but I'll always be okay. I'm like, what the f*** are you saying? So anyway, thank God I'm surrounded by some insanely level-headed people. It's also why I try doing so many businesses, because you do businesses with new folks, new ideas. Those new folks humble you. The new ideas show you how much you don't know and just keeps you grounded. If I was just a YouTuber by this point, I would be soaked in my own perspectives. I'd be sitting here and giving you perspectives on all of life without having lived life. There are YouTubers who do that, which is why doing business or doing something outside of YouTube is also important. Okay, and the fifth and final point when it comes to the dark side of this game, it's called linear growth versus exponential growth. Around the time it started the podcast, I'd contemplated switching off the English channel, just focusing on Hindi. My team made me sit down and told me what's the easiest form of content you can create. I told them, let me just sit and record these beautiful conversations I'm having with these mentors of mine and these smart people I'm meeting. Let's record it, let's release it, call it podcasts. I met Abhijit Pradhan, one of our earlier podcasts, and I told him I'm not okay with my channel not performing because I'm giving it my 200%. Why is it not performing? And his answer to me was simple. He said that, no, you can't gauge your performance based on quantification at this point in your career. So if you think that your views aren't as much as a mainstream channel's views, that's not a correct perception of yourself. So I asked him why. So he said, because your audience, for the kind of content you're creating, which is infotainment, which is self-help, it's a kind of cream audience. There's very few people who want that kind of content in India right now. And you have to continuously cater to them because that's the audience you always cater to, the audience that wants to elevate themselves. So the basic consensus of that conversation was, ask yourself why you're doing this YouTube career. Because you have a stable business. What's left for you in content creation? This is not your main career now. Probably the business career is your main career. This is a business for you. This is a supplement to your businesses. Kind of made sense to me. I went within and I figured that there's two reasons I'm doing YouTube. One is to help all the other businesses because my actual goal is to create employment. 20,000 jobs for India before I die. That's a tangible goal I've kept for myself. Everyone creates games for themselves that they play, that they take motivation from. That's my game, 20,000 jobs. Then I'll think of resting or then I'll create some new game. But the second big goal of mine has always been, it sounds simple, but it's always been to help people. Just do work that makes this world a better place, helps people younger than yourself, helps people who need the help, helps the same people who are going through the same problems that you went through and you didn't get any help and you had to figure out all that shit yourself. Help people. That's why I'm doing content creation. That's why I'm doing Monk Entertainment and Level and BigBrainco. If you just play a YouTube game or a content creation game, you'll earn enough money to be financially stable for the rest of your life. You'll enjoy the sexuality of fame. And it does bring its own perks, trust me. I've had experiences where I'll be fucking standing outside a crowded club. They're not allowing anyone to get in. I'm just standing there. People crowd around me. The bouncers probably don't even know who I am. And someone says, hey, don't let us in, but let this guy in. He makes great videos. And the bouncers have let me in. I've been inside clubs where my name's been announced along with some other YouTubers' names. That's a rush. The whole club is like clapping for you, cheering for you. All these weird experiences happen with fame. And fame is sexual in many ways. Speaking about sexual fame, I've had moments where I've been in clubs and girls have come up and said, hey, I love your videos. Then they've come closer in my ear. They've told me, by the way, I'm okay coming with you tonight. Wherever you go, I'll be with you. Take my number. This has happened to me. I'm just like, no, don't want any of that. I'm a simple dude. As many ladki patawing videos as we make, I'm a simple dude who believes in old school romances. But my point is, this is the sexual aspect of fame. It's very enticing. It's inviting. It also takes your focus away from greater goals, like creating employment, like making the world a better place. Sometimes. Not for everyone, but definitely for some people. People get drunk with their own power. Between fame and money, I'd always choose money because money is what you can create an impact with. Money can be used to create more money. Money can be used to create businesses. Money can be used to create jobs, which is very much aligned with what I want in life. That's my personal purpose. Doesn't have to be everyone's purpose. Not everyone has to chase money. I'm chasing money because it will help fuel my long-term goals. I don't want fancy cars or helicopters or big houses. I want to get to my goals because I know I was born on this earth to make it a happier place, and I'll be able to do that through money and not fame. With YouTube, what happens is you earn great money through your brand deals, but it's always incremental. So say you earned 1 crore in your first year, in your second year you'll earn 1.3, in your third year you'll earn 2, in your fourth year you'll earn probably 3, in your fifth year you'll earn 4. It's always a straight line, and then after a point you'll plateau out. This isn't just YouTube, this is the media industry. It's just how the world works. You'll earn in a linear way. You'll earn 1 crore more than you earned in the previous year. That's not enough money to create 20,000 jobs or to change the world. That's enough money for you to have a lavish life and take your family on international vacations every year. That's enough money to give you a stable life. That's not what I'm chasing. And it's okay if you are, but that's not what I'm chasing. I'm chasing exponential growth in terms of money. In the first year you have 1 crore, in the second year you have 1.5, in the third year you have 2, in the fourth year you have 10, in the fifth year you have 30, in the sixth year you have 100. Exponential growth. It's torture, honestly. There is an aspect of it which is torture because you have to put yourself through so much mental trauma of scaling businesses. Businesses are scaled by improving your own EQ, handling other people's egos, handling other people's EQ, coaching people, creating teams, retaining teams, troubling your own mind with financial trouble. There's too many aspects to it. This phase of my life, this chapter of my life is the heavy chapter. That's what I'm going through. we're not doing this for money, we're doing this for scale. So that 2, 3, 4 years from now, my entire team doesn't have to make YouTube videos for the sake of money. We're making it for the sake of art. We're creating the Indian Game of Thrones. We're creating the modern version of Mahabharata. We're creating all these crazy ideas that we can create without worrying about money. First play the startup game, then play the art game. One step in that direction, and here's my request to you if you've watched this podcast till this point. One step in that direction is our new YouTube channel, Big Brain Company. I'm going to link it down below. Please check out that YouTube channel. It's one step towards sort of creating a property on YouTube that's independent of this fucking face. This is a limitation. When there's one person creating videos, there's a limit to the subjects you can speak about. There's a limit to the number of content pieces you can create. And there's 1,000 other limits that I don't even want to explain. But when there's a group of people, that's where the magic lies. On the most beautiful nights of your life, when you look up in the sky never has just one star. The most beautiful nights of your life will have 1,000 stars up in the sky together. It's one step towards that moment. It's called BigBrainco. Please subscribe to the new YouTube channel because it's going to develop into something eventually. But we need your support right now. Side note, just a bonus point. It's a mistake I've done with my own YouTube journey. I've not requested people to subscribe or engage with content or comment down below. It's a mistake because long term, we've not been able to build a very powerful community. At least that's what I get told from the outside. When we run a talent management company called Monk Entertainment, we get a scan of all the talents working with us. And this is where the BeerBiceps community is honestly slightly weak compared to other communities, that our community doesn't engage with the videos. When we release podcasts, our podcasts don't get shared as much on WhatsApp. Maybe it's because we're a community of self-improvers and all of us are too busy gaining and self-improving. And that's okay, I get it. But at this phase of my life, I'm putting my hand out and saying, one, please subscribe to Big Brain Company, show your support to that channel. Lots of videos about lots of topics. We're ensuring that we make every video very interesting. And two, going forward, as much as you can, engage with our videos. Because I'm here for like 5 to 10 years more. But I need a community to like back me with everything I'm doing. I'm not going to be creating 20,000 jobs alone. I'm sure many of you watching this will be a part of those 20,000 jobs. And who knows, maybe 5,000 startups. But here's my request to you. I'm going to keep being this candid, this honest about what's happening in my life. I'm going to die, but I will bring you the best possible podcast and content in the world. I'm going to die doing it. I'm going to hammer myself doing it. I'm going to sacrifice in my life. But engage with our content a little more. So follow our communities on Telegram. Follow all our pages across social media. Engage with the content. And share it with your friends. And let's build out a community. The first step is you subscribing to Big Brain, following what's happening there, pressing that bell icon and all that other YouTube-y stuff. Just because I don't request you to do it doesn't mean you shouldn't. It's just a request. And now I'll thank you for listening to this podcast till this point. So thank you. Let me know if you want more solo podcasts like this. But I just take a mind shit on the internet. Lots of love. Namaste. See you soon. Hey guys, so that was the heart-to-heart about everything it means being a content creator, being a YouTuber. If you're an aspiring YouTuber, I hope you gained something from this episode. Remember to follow The Ranveer Show on Spotify. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. Once in a while, doing these kind of episodes kind of feels like throwing up mentally. That's honestly what it feels like. All these thoughts, all these patterns in my head, I just want to share them with you guys. We are building a powerful, self-help driven community here. And if I'm going on my own growth tangents, it's my responsibility to share it with you guys. That's why you don't do too many English solo episodes. But I'd love to know what other solo episodes you guys would like to witness on the Ranveer Show. Please let me know. Comment below. Send in your DMs on social media. I want to know what else you guys want me to speak about from that solo perspective. Remember to subscribe to BigBrainco as well. And until next time, guys, from Ranveer and the team, we'll see you later.